everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Darylyn, and today I am going to show you all of my favorite common houseplants in my collection. I think for the most part in the plant community, I'm known for having much rarer plants than maybe some other people. But you know what though? Rare plants are not the end-all be-all of houseplant collecting. Common plants are fun too. And I of course started with common plants before I started getting into like expensive and bougie stuff. And if I do say so myself, some of them are looking quite chef's kiss. They may not be uncommon, but some of them are starting to look uncommonly sexy. So let's get into it. I'm going to show you all of my super awesome, amazing common plants that I keep in my house, even though I don't have room for any more plants. I refuse to get rid of them. That right there tells you something about like how much I like these, because we all know that I have zero space for anything else. So let's go. All right, so first common plant that I have in my house that I refuse to get rid of is this Jade Pothos. This is cool and special to me because it is growing from cuttings that my dear friend gave to me. And I just finished propagating it, I don't know, like a couple of weeks ago, and stuck it into this little terracotta pot in soil. And I know that's probably like shocking to some people that like, oh my God, Darylyn like has a plant in terracotta in soil. And you know what? Yes, I would have to agree with you. It is shocking because like not ever what I would choose as my first choice for how to keep a plant. But for something like a Jade Pothos, like why complicate it? So I'm really excited to have this because I actually like kind of prefer the simplicity of just the regular Jade Pothos. I used to have a golden pothos and unfortunately it succumbed to thrips. And I used to have a marble queen pothos, same story. The thrips got them. So this is kind of replacing those, and I think it just looks so good against the terracotta. Like I really like just the simple green, so I'm excited to have this. Cross your fingers that this plant like stays healthy and pest free and I don't get thrips and I don't lose this one, because I would really like to grow this out like big and bushy and long. But yeah, Jade Pothos, solid, classic, 10 out of 10 common plant, and especially in these little terracotta pots, they're so cute. All right, what else do I have here? Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is a ZZ Raven, and I've had this plant now for, I want to say like almost 2 years. This plant was in the batch of kind of like rarish, uncommon plants that I first kind of started buying like a couple of years ago. And I really like this plant, and my dream is to have like a giant ZZ Raven, but unfortunately these grow really slowly and they need a lot more light than like the regular ZZ plant does. I like them though. I mean, they're pretty bulletproof. I got kind of frustrated with this plant and like it wasn't growing, so I kind of ignored it for 2 years, and then it literally did nothing for me during that time when I was ignoring it. And then I finally moved it outside and it's finally starting. You can see like right here. Can you see? Like that right there is gonna be a new shoot. So that's exciting. And then on the other side, oh, I don't know that you're gonna be able to see that. That little blip right there is gonna be a new shoot as well. So these are fun because when they grow a new shoot, they come out like neon green, which is kind of fun. So I really like these. They're really not rare anymore at all. Like these have been in like Costa Farms, like mass produced tissue culture for a while. You can get them at Walmart sometimes if you're lucky. But yeah, I mean, I've held on to it even though it's kind of frustrated me at times. So at this point, I don't think I'm gonna probably part with it. And I think it looks really good in this little basket. So maybe someday I'll have a big pot of it if I keep it happy. But yeah, a little ZZ Raven. I think they're so cute. And they're a great plant goth plant too. Like 100% for sure. They're like so dark. All right, next up I have my Philodendron Micans. So these plants, these are fun. These are like a really good trailing plant option. I got this plant like, what is it, March now? Last year in the spring. So I've had it about a year. But like when I got it, it was just a jar full of cuttings. Then I potted them up, and over time, you know, a handful of cuttings that a friend of mine had given me turned into this like monster. And one thing I've noticed is I had actually taken a lot of cuttings to propagate this, and I've noticed that the vines that I cut, the leaves have grown back in way bigger. I mean, look at this side of the plant. This looks so good. And then this other side looks like maybe a little bit more scraggly. So I might actually prune this back on this side and like rotate the plant towards the light. But I mean, these are so like just solid. These are a great plant. Like they're definitely not rare, but they're so in demand and so desired that they can be a little bit tricky to find, and you might have to pay like more for them than like really you ever should. But these are great. Like Philodendron Micans, like 10 out of 10 recommend. Super cute. Like I can't wait until it starts to trail a little bit more. And yeah, one of my more commonish plants that is thriving and looking a little bit sexual, if I do say so myself. All right, so next we have like a classic plant for a challenge on a budget. This is just about the most accessible Calathea that you can find. It is just your run-of-the-mill, regular, schmegula Calathea Medallion. I think it might be Calathea roseopicta, or that might be different. I'm not sure, but Calathea Medallion is usually what you see them labeled in stores. And like, this girl is like a full frontal bush of Calathea Medallion. Like, I'm so proud of this. I got this plant, like, I think I have had this one for a year now. Like, this is not like my first Calathea Medallion. This is not my second Calathea Medallion. Like, it took a while to kind of figure out what it wanted from me. And I find that with Calathea, where you put them in your house, they either are fully here for it or they're like, no, try again. And I've been really lucky with this one that it really liked the spot that I put it in. The other thing with Calathea is you have to give them filtered water. Like, there's just no way around it. You have to give them filtered water. Even just water from your Brita filter is fine, but you have to give them filtered water. Otherwise, you will start to get just really bad browning and like leaf crisping. And it's just like much better to give the plant what it wants and, you know, have a healthy plant, especially a challenging plant like this. Like, you want to give it every, you know, advantage possible. But just like so bushy, so sexy. I love Calathea. Like, I'm a sucker for them. It sometimes can feel like keeping Calathea, you're a little bit of a glutton for punishment, but once you figure out a spot for them and you get like the watering down, they're very set it and forget it. Like, you basically just give them filtered water, never let them dry out, and, you know, find a windowsill or something that's like very, very good shaded or filtered indirect bright light, and they're super happy. Like, this is, I think I've got like 3 of them now that have the kind of Calathea Medallion leaves to them. I mean, they can be spider mites magnets if you struggle with spider mites. Like, I'm really lucky I've never struggled with spider mites where I live. Don't ask me why that is. I have no idea. I've only ever found spider mites on plants in my house one time, and it was on 2 Alocasia, and like I nipped that in the bud real quick and I haven't had them come back since. So I don't know what it is that I'm doing that is keeping my Calathea spider mites free, but man, that's a sexy ass Calathea. Like, she looking good. And growing season in San Diego starts in like February. So she put out like 6 leaves last month. And so she's looking like, she's like feeling herself right now. So my Calathea Medallion, another common plant that is looking fine and that I like really can't bear to part with. Alrighty then, speaking of Alocasia, this is an Alocasia Black Velvet, and these are, I think these are my favorite Alocasia, definitely that I've ever had. Definitely more than the fried egg, but they're just so pretty. Like, it's hard for me to believe that these are just like run-of-the-mill, like cheap plants. Like, you can get these for less than 20 bucks for, you know, like a small one. I keep all my Alocasia in self-watering, and actually, yeah, they're in soil and self-watering. I find that that works well for me for a couple of reasons. Namely, it's so much easier to use a systemic, at least in my opinion, in soil. And like, you have to keep Alocasia in self-watering or they will just be members of the 1-leaf club, the 2-leaf club, like forever. This one usually has like 3 to 4 leaves, just depending on its mood. And this one, unfortunately, I think is gonna go. I might not have gotten to water it like right when it wanted to be watered, but yeah, Alocasia Black Velvet, oh, they're so pretty, so chill. They do fine and like grow light, you know, they don't need like prime window space. Like I really like this plant and it's just so cute. It's just so cute. And it basically wants like nothing from me. And like, you know, I'm a sucker for like a dark leaf with like bright veins, and like 10 out of 10, recommend Alocasia Black Velvet. Like, I love it. Every time I look at this plant, like I smile because it's just like, hi, I'm chilling. Like I need nothing from you. Like I'm here to make you smile and that's it. It's like, that's what planting should be about. Just like vibing with your plants. Like that's another reason I think why I like all these plants is that they like just vibe with me. And like they don't like make anything annoying or weird. So definitely get you some plants that like don't annoy you. Alocasia Black Velvet, solid alocasia choice. Definitely recommend. I kind of like tried to go like in order of sexiness, but like, I don't know, I guess it's for you guys to decide. But next I have my absolutely beautiful Ficus Ruby. So, oh my God, like this plant is out of control. It's so pink right now. Look how pink, I don't know if you can see how pink it is, but like in regular light, it is so pink. So this is just a form of Ficus elastica. It's the form that it's variegated, but the leaves come in pink and then they fade down to cream. And you definitely get a lot of pink when you keep it in real sun, like bright and direct sunlight. And I've had this plant for about 2 years now. It was one of like the COVID plants that I got. And there's actually like 3 of them in here, which is one of the reasons why it looks so bushy and like so good. But when I first got this, it was just kind of surviving. It didn't really like what I was doing for it. And it kind of did nothing for like a year. It didn't grow hardly at all. And then I moved it to a little table by one of my windows. I think it's a west facing window, but it's like obscured by a building. So it's like the light that comes in is like extremely indirect, but very bright. And ever since I moved it, it's just gotten so big. So big. And yeah, so this is like, this plant's 2 years old, and I am fully aware that you can get these at like Home Depot or Lowe's or Walmart or like whatever the fuck big box store you prefer for not that expensive, for like, I don't know, like $40 or something. And they're like 2.5 feet tall and they've got leaves the size of dinner plates. But I mean, good for you if you have one of those, like whatever. I got this back before those were everywhere last year, and I'm really proud of myself for keeping it happy and keeping it alive and just getting these results from it. I think that it's looking really good. I'm so proud of myself that like the bottom isn't super sparse. You know, eventually when I repot this, I'll be able to like scooch some soil up over the bottom area and it's just gonna look bigger and bushier and more full. So I just like, I love this. I love pink plants, and this one's a good one. It's so chill because it's in terracotta and soil. Like it pains me, but some plants actually do need that. This one, I water it basically every week. Like usually I water this and the Calathea at the same time. I find that the Ficus elastica forms, they don't really like to dry out fully. And so in order to just like make it easier to like water them a lot, but like not be afraid that I'm overwatering it, like the terracotta, like it has to be done. And I mean, I think it looks really nice. Like one thing I will say about terracotta is that like it's a full vibe and it just like makes designing your space with your plants so easy. I have this problem with pots and planters in general where I like to be like a little magpie and like I like everything and like none of it matches, but I never have that problem with terracotta because it's just a classic look. I probably need to like wipe my terracotta, but don't judge me. All right, so Ficus elastica Ruby, a common plant that I love, that's looking sexy, that I can't bring myself to part with. Okay, so last but like 100% not least, like actually like most, is my Hoya Crimson Queen. And let me just say that I'm gonna toot my own horn here, and I like am really proud of my Hoya Crimson Queen. I think it looks great. Like 10 out of 10, incredible, like so happy with it. Like let me just show you because I never show this plant on social media or on the channel. Like I kind of just always forget about it, and it just sits in my kitchen and like asks for basically nothing, and it like, you know, faces the window, and it just, all this time that I like ignore it, it's like putting in the work. And like, I just looked at it like fully the other day and I was like, whoa. And this plant's the reason I decided to make this video, because it just looks that good. Okay, hang on one second. Okay, so this is my Hoya Crimson Queen, and I need to back up so that you guys can see like the full plant, but like, look at her. She's doing amazing. And like, look at her like pretty sun-stressed leaves. Like, I really hope that you can see how pink those look on camera because they're so pretty. So this plant faces the window. It's like a southeast window, but the window is obscured by a bunch of buildings, so it's like very like bright and direct light. Like, I don't think this plant gets like direct sunlight really at all, but it faces the window, which is why like all of the foliage is facing one way, which looks so good. And then the other thing about this plant is I've had this plant for like almost 4 years, I want to say. Maybe only 3, but I've had it a really long time. I got it right after I moved into this apartment, and it was the first time in a really long time that I'd had a place to live that had like windows that were gonna have light. So it was a plant I picked up the first time I went to the nursery to get plants for my new place. Like, I had plants for forever and then like had to get rid of them all, and then moving here I was like, okay, I'm gonna have plants again. And this was one of the ones that I picked up on that trip. It was my first Hoya. It was my first plant that I was like, I don't really know how to take care of this, but I'm gonna like figure it out. And it's doing amazing now, but I got really bad advice, like care advice, from the person that sold me this plant. She told me like it was a low light plant and to water it every 2 weeks. And like, I honestly just felt like all the Hoya people like collectively shudder like through the camera because it's in a 6-inch pot of soil. And granted, there were, I don't know, probably like 6 or 7 cuttings in the pot, but like a Hoya that's in a big pot of soil in low light, like, oh my God, no, you should not be watering that every 2 weeks. Like, you're gonna rot your plant, which is exactly what happened. And I probably lost like half the cuttings that were in this plant. It was so sad, but I managed to like salvage it. And I think actually taking care of this plant and my first Calathea Medallion was the thing that got me into looking for plant advice on YouTube and like watching plant YouTube videos. And so clearly I fixed it, and then I figured out how to propagate it, and I added some more cuttings back to the pot. So I would actually say now we're finally getting back to where we started with this plant, of the fullness and like how bushy it looks. But I just think that like, oh, the trellis fits this so well. It's fine if you don't think it looks as good as I think it does, but I think it looks so good. It looks so cute and just like sweet, and I don't know what it is. I think there's something like very romantic about a lot of Hoyas, and I think this plant has a lot of really cool variegation that I don't see on Crimson Queen like all the time. Like, I like this leaf looks really good, and this leaf looks really good, and it's putting out a whole bunch of white leaves right here, but they're all sun stressing, and I just think it's really cool. So I'm very proud of it. Oh yeah, like back here there's some pretty ones. And I love this plant. This is like, I made like a commitment to this plant a long time ago that no matter what happens, like, I am a ride or die with this Hoya Crimson Queen. We've been together for a long time and she's taught me a lot, and I mean, I'm so happy with how this looks. So that is going to be it for today from me. Thank you so much for chilling with me. Tell me all about your favorite common plants that you can't let go of in the comments below. If you want me to like see your pictures, please use the hashtag plantfrienddownthestreet, because I do go in there and check things out every few days or so. And yeah, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for chilling with me. I already said that. Okay, whatever. Bye.